Hello, everybody, and welcome to the afternoon tune. I'm your host, Josh, and with me today is my special guest co-host, Chris. How's it going there, Chris?
Going good. Thanks for having me.
Oh man, it's good to have you as always, man. Always helping me out with these reviews. Got some leftover reviews here that I didn't get a chance to review because I was away on vacation. So yeah, thank you for helping me out with these reviews. We're gonna be reviewing Warfare and Drop, two movies I didn't get a chance to see. By any chance, did you see Magazine Dreams or Death of a Unicorn or Ash or
Uh, yes, I saw Death of a Unicorn and what was the last one?
Ash?
Ash. No, I didn't see that.
Did you see Working Man or The Amateur?
Uh, no, I saw neither of those. I did just today. I did see Sinners and I saw The Wedding Banquet.
Okay, I see that tomorrow. I see Wedding Banquet tomorrow. I did a review of Sinners yesterday.
Hmm.
Yeah, we'll add on Death of a Unicorn, then get that off the list there. But yeah, so that's added to the list. But Chris, let people know about you, what you got going on, man. Everything like that.
Yeah, mostly just you can find me posting stories on Instagram involving movies or animals or certain news stories or food or whatever. And you can also find me on a Letterboxd where I write not a shit ton of reviews as much as I used to, but like enough to let you know that like I am watching stuff and keeping track of the new shit that I'm watching like per year, that sort of thing.
Okay. Eager to hear your thoughts on Sinners. A lot of people saying it's the best movie of 2025. A lot of people raving about it, loving it. So watch it before everybody says it's overrated. But you saw this is your letterbox right here, and I have your review up here for The Wedding Banquet. And this is a remake of a 1993 film. So I'll check
Yeah,
it
one of
out.
Ang Lee's first movies.
Oh, really? Okay, it's an Ang Lee film. All right, nice. And yeah, I'm gonna be seeing this tomorrow. I decided to swap this out with Minecraft. I'll see Minecraft Wednesday. Um,
Mm.
yeah. So I decided yeah, I think Wedding Bank would be the better option there to
Let
watch.
the people know if you see a live chicken at that screening.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, that's the ritual people are doing. Like it's kind of like the gentle minions thing. I guess people are doing with Minecraft. Like they're doing the chicken and throwing the popcorn and all that stuff like that.
Ugh.
Yeah. But you gave Wedding Banquet. You gave it 4 stars. You said decided to check this out on a whim, and I'm happy I did. Very sweet movie and funnier than the trailer, which is horribly put together and isn't accurate to the tone of the actual movie. Makes it look like the grandma from Minari is once again great. And it's look the grandma from Minari is once again great, and Lily Gladstone has some surprisingly solid comedy chops. But for me, Kelly Marie Tran is the big standout. Definitely makes me want to check it out. Check out the original. Okay, yeah, that's also another one, Kelly Marie Tran, who I haven't seen since Star Wars. So, well, actually, she did the voice of Raya, right? She did the voice of that, right?
Yeah, she did that voice, and she had a horror movie on Hulu like a month or so ago where she's like scratching her head and like ants are crawling out of the hole that's back there, shit like that.
Control Freak.
Yes, yeah, that's the movie.
Okay, that sounds pretty disgusting. Like that's like
Yeah, it gets pretty gnarly at points.
okay, I gotta maybe check that out. Control Freak. Okay. But Kelly Marie Tran, so it's good to see her in something. Lily Gladstone, it's good to see her. I hadn't seen her since her Oscar nomination film there, Killers of the Flower Moon, which she was fantastic in that. So
Hmm.
that's pretty good there. Yeah, okay, so yeah, and it has the mom from Dee Dee also in it, Joan Chen. So I want to check it out because of that.
Yep.
Very awesome. So I'll see that. Um, Future reviews wise, so streams. I do have a stream tomorrow. I'll be with Sage from Rated M for Immaturity. We're going to be doing a review for Daredevil Born Again, the Devil May Cry anime series there, which is on Netflix. And then Sage has always got some video game reviews that he's going to be doing there. He always provides that for the show, so he's going to be doing that Monday. But have you watched Daredevil Born Again? I know you said you're MCU burnt out, but I don't know if you're curious to check it out or anything.
I haven't watched it yet. I've heard enough decent things about it to where I might check it out at some point. But it's kind of one of those touch and go. Like, if I get around to it, it's not going to be for a little while things because there's other stuff I want to see in other shows that I'm like binging in the meanwhile. But I might get around to it at some point.
Okay. But yeah, it's pretty solid. I would say it's a little bit on par with what Netflix did with Daredevil. But I think season 2 is where you're really gonna see it take off and be on par with the Netflix Daredevil seasons.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so they're gonna do that. Devil May Cry, the anime series, and like I said, some video game reviews. Friday, hopefully, do Nick or Des can join me this upcoming Friday. What's coming out is we got that movie Until Dawn, which is based on the video game. We have that coming out, and I think there's something else coming out this upcoming week. Yes, I know for sure it's Until Dawn, which I don't know, maybe good, maybe not, maybe it can surprise me. Trailer didn't look all that interesting, didn't look all that good, but maybe it can show up and surprise me there. Cheech and Chong, they have a movie coming out, their last movie that's coming out there. But seems like that's maybe the biggest thing coming out. Is
There's
just
also the Accountant too.
The Accountant too. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's that and a smaller movie that looks kind of interesting called On Swift Forces that I might check out.
Yeah, it seems like this is starring Will Poulter.
Yeah, and it looks like he gets cucked by literally every other character in that movie, if the trailer is anything to go by.
Okay, so is the trailer like a what was that movie with Barry Keoghan?
Oh, Saltburn?
Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, it's a little bit like that.
Other than both movies have Jacob Elordi in them as one of the leads, not quite that. It looks a little more like sort of old school melodrama-ish, period piece type thing.
You met this one already, huh?
She's been spilling her secrets all afternoon.
Yeah.
I don't mind. Marry me.
You're starting to see Will Poulter in a lot of stuff nowadays.
Yeah, and he's killing it.
Yeah, he was Death of a Unicorn, and he's going to be in 2 movies that we've talked about. So.
Oh yeah.
It's really true what they say about California.
Who is the woman? Woman looks familiar.
Oh, that is Daisy Edgar Jones, the actress.
Yeah.
Ariel, unexpected opportunities come up. Wish me luck in Sin City.
First time? What do you think so far?
It's instructive.
Oh, it's the actor from also Babylon.
Yeah, Diego Calva, I think is his name.
Which I did not like that movie, but he was good in it.
Oh, I like that movie.
Okay.
You knew what this meant. It's all luck. We're all just a hair's breadth from losing everything.
You know what Julia said? You said that sad girl, she needs someone to tell her what to do.
Say, how about you? Is that what you want?
Everybody's fucking everybody. Okay.
This is the one thing
Yeah.
we can do out there in
Everybody except Will Poulter, it looks like.
We want something,
Yeah, I
we
guess.
gotta take it.
Maybe he'll fuck Jacob Elordi. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he'll fuck.
Afraid of being alone.
I mean, they play brothers, so that would kind of make the whole thing a little more crazy.
I don't know exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. You never know. With certain movies, hey, you never know. But
It'd be a great follow-up to the new season of White Lotus.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's something. I have to watch the new season of White Lotus. I haven't not seen White Lotus before, so I can just jump right in, right? I don't need to see the other seasons. Right?
There's 1 or 2 characters that carry over from previous seasons, so like it's like a good treat if you watch all the seasons, but it's not like essential to getting the general gist of what's happening this time around.
Okay. Yeah. I do plan on reviewing that. I don't know if you would want to join me on that. But
I could.
Yeah, probably if we do it, I'll let you know throughout the week. Sunday, if will probably be the day. So I'll let you
All right.
know probably midweek or anything like that if I plan to do it or not. But yeah, so Friday, The Accountant 2, which looks fun. It looks more fun than the first one, which I think I did see the first one and I thought it was okay. I thought it was all right. It was your typical kind of spy assassin type film, except the character had autism. It's one of those things where if you got autism, then it's like a superpower. You can do anything through the power of autism. So there was kind of that going on. But
I never saw it.
yeah, it's alright. It's pretty decent. Decent little action movie. But yeah, so this one, the sequel, I know John Bernthal, he gets involved there. Maybe he'll ask somebody to tell him something, so maybe he'll do that there and that. Uh, but yeah, and he plays the brother of Ben Affleck. So he plays him.
Mhm.
I can't remember if he was in the first one or not.
So Daredevil and the Punisher are brothers now.
Yeah, yeah, Daredevil and the Punisher are brothers. Yeah, so you got that. So yeah, got that going on in The Accountant 2 and Until Dawn would be the two big reviews there. And TV shows, yeah, I still have to see if Nick can join me for a review of Reacher. That is a future review. I seen that. And hopefully get that done there. That was season 3. And then maybe eventually White Lotus is another one I'll do. I'll do a retro review as well, maybe sometime down the line for Batman Forever and a tribute to Val Kilmer. Have you been going back watching any Val Kilmer movies and tribute to him?
I keep meaning to. I've just been caught up with a bunch of other stuff. I'm gonna try to finally get around to watching The Doors. That movie he did where he was Jim Morrison.
Yeah, that movie. I think in itself it's okay. It's really carried by Val Kilmer as Jim Morrison.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing.
Yeah, it's really carried by him. But yeah, speaking of tributes there, I know Unforgiven is also on the docket because Gene Hackman passed away. So give a review for that film there. So do that. What else? Some future reviews there as well. Karate Kid, we'll review the OG Karate Kid film there once the Karate Kid Legends movie is close to coming out. I think that movie comes out in July or June is when that movie comes out. So we'll do a rich review for the first Karate Kid movie. That. But yeah. So there. Any other movies you looking forward to? I know Sinners. You're going to be watching that tomorrow. Are you going to see it in IMAX?
I just saw it today in IMAX.
Oh, you saw it today already. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did a double feature. I was gonna just do that, and then I just kind of, on a whim, like I saw that The Wedding Banquet was listed on like the sort of like booth where they have the show times, and I decided like I'll run over and see that afterwards.
So, was this one of your most anticipated movies of 25? It was for me. Was this
Yeah.
one?
Yes, absolutely. Coogler has not made a bad movie yet, and that absolutely holds true for this one. He, without giving too much away, he basically used his big blank check as a way to make the horror version of Coco, and I'm really happy he did. Like, it's up there in terms of like quality and how it uses music to tell its story and the themes that it tackles. And yeah, it's really, really impressive stuff. And it's so cool to watch him work his magic across the course of the movie and to see all of these actors just crushing it across the board.
Do you think this is his best movie?
God, it might be. Like, I'm torn. Like, because Creed, I think, is, if there's any competition like between this and his other movies for like which one's the best, I think it might be Creed. But this one, it's like it's up there. Like, it's on par at the very least.
Yeah. I haven't seen Fruitvale Station. That's the only one of his movies I have not seen.
Yeah, that one's really good. It's fucking sad, but it's still really good. Definitely worth watching, especially for Jordan's performance.
Yeah. What were you thinking about Michael B. Jordan as an actor? Because some people are kind of concerned with him. It's like, oh, is he going to do a good job playing this dual role of twins? Some people think he's kind of a mediocre actor. Where do you stand on Michael B. Jordan as an actor?
Oh, I don't understand him thinking he's mediocre at all. I think he's been consistently great in pretty much everything he's been in, even in stuff that I hate, like that Fantastic Four movie. It's like, yeah, the movie as a whole sucks, but he's like the closest that movie has to an actual like good performance. Like, he's the one that has the most charisma and seems to be trying the hardest. And yeah, here he does such a great job at making both of the twins distinct from each other with their personalities and how he uses his body language to differentiate them. It also helps that they're dressed differently so you can tell them apart during key scenes, but he also, as an actor, is able to bring a lot to it to make them feel like two separate characters and not like you're just watching the same character just cloned.
Yeah. I thought he did his thing in this. I thought he did a really, really great job. I could see Ludwig Göransson getting nominated for this score with this.
Oh yeah.
The music is phenomenal in it. I think that's really well done. So I can see him getting nominated for that. He already has 2 Oscars already. Ludwig Göransson. So maybe he's going to get a third one this time. Would you say it's your favorite movie of 2025?
Maybe like like it's a movie that's sticking with me very much, and I want to like sit on it more and think about it more. But it's definitely up there as far as like sheer entertainment value. It's up there for me with like something like Companion, as far as like wow, that movie really like impressed the hell out of me, and it's one that I want to go back and watch again. And I would absolutely recommend other people like you got to check it that you got to check this out because there's so much good stuff here, and it's going to appeal to so many different people.
Mm, yeah, absolutely wonderful. Terrific cast. And this as well, all the way around, up and down, from Delroy Lindo, Haley Steinfeld, Jack O'Connell, Omar Miller, just everybody up and down the cast. Phenomenal job. So if people have not seen it, go check out Sinners if you can. Highly recommend it. Yeah. All right. Let's get into some of these reviews. And then we head out. Of course, as always, we go ahead and raid somebody. Dante's on playing that Warhammer 40K. Cal is on right now. Cal, a good friend of the channel. So yeah, good people we on. We can raid after this. Very, very nice. Double Toast is on. They're reviewing Sinners right now. They're reviewing good old Sinners. Hey, if you had to do a prediction, what do you think they're going to give it?
Probably full price if I had to guess.
Yeah. All right. Do you have a preference? Which one you want to start with first? Warfare, Drop, Death of a Unicorn, anything like that?
You can start with anyone. It's fine.
Okay. Let's do Warfare. I think that'd be pretty simple to get through. So let me queue up this movie, get some notes out for this, and we go ahead and get started. Good old Warfare. All right. Okay. All right. So our first review of the day is going to be for the film Warfare. Warfare is a movie directed by Alex Garland. It's co-directed also with him and Ray Mendoza. Alex Garland, you know him from such movies as he just recently did Civil War, which came out last year. He did Ex Machina. He did Annihilation. Ray Mendoza, he's a war veteran there, and he's kind of using his expertise there to help tell this story. And this story is based on a platoon of Navy SEALs there that are on a mission in Iraq here, and it's basically just how they're going to get the fuck out of this dangerous situation while they're in Iraq, with they're facing this onslaught of attack from people there, and that's basically all the setup. That's basically is kind of what you have here. I mean, once the first grenade hits, it's just kind of go from there. Them fighting off these enemies, them shooting, them trying to evacuate injured their fellow injured service members there. Pretty much that's kind of what you just have there. You don't really get a lot of depth here. There isn't a whole lot of character moments here and that there. Just it because it's just such a fast paced type of thing. And this is a short film. It's only an hour and 30 some minutes here. And with this cast, you have pretty much the who's who of basically all the young up and coming male actors today. You got Will Poulter. People might know he was Adam Warlock in Guardians of the Galaxy. You have Joseph Quinn, who's going to be Johnny Storm in the Fantastic Four film. You have Cosmo Jarvis, who was in Shogun. You have Charles Melton as well there. So, I mean, a lot of and you also have like Michael Gandolfini, who's in this, who's the son of James Gandolfini, who people might know he's in Daredevil Born Again right now. You kind of have a lot of this kind of star cast here, but it's just this incredibly stressful situation of all these soldiers trying to get out of this situation. And if they are going to make it out alive, you see that. And this is based on, like I said, real life experience from somebody. And it's told through memories, as they say, of this. So it's all based on the memories of the people who were actually there at that during this when this happened. So, Chris, what are your thoughts on Warfare?
Warfare. I like this a lot. It's a movie that I think it's going to be a bit of a challenge to talk about because it is so simple. Like, there's no huge twist or turns or anything like that, or like big like plot developments or character revelations or anything like that. It really is like basically just a real-time look at a bunch of soldiers going on a mission and the chaos that ensues when that mission goes wrong, and how they try to get out of there, how they try to like shoot at at their targets, and how they try to get away, and the damage that they take throughout the course of this mission. And it's a movie that very much reminds me of Dunkirk, where people are probably going to complain, and I think they already have started complaining about there being a lack of character development or like really deep story or anything like that. And I would counter, not necessarily counter, but I would argue that, yeah, that's really not the point of the movie. The point of the movie is to put you in the shoes of these guys as much as the movie possibly can, and just let you experience the shit that they go through and what war is truly like. Like, it's very much like almost a first person sort of documentary esque portrayal of warfare that doesn't try to gloss it up or glamorize it at all. It's very like upfront about how like miserable and fucked up this situation that they're in is, and how it affects not just them but the people in this town, because they show the town at the beginning, and it's a very quiet, normal seeming town, and then once the battle starts it just gets obliterated so much, and you can't help but feel for the other citizens who are not involved with the battle at all. They're just also trying to survive, even though it doesn't really focus on them all that much, if at all. You still get that sense watching it of like, wow, this is not good for anybody. And it does a really good job at making you angry all over again about the Iraq war, where the whole time you're watching all this bloodshed, all this carnage, all this destruction, you're just sitting there like, yeah, they did all of this, and for what purpose? Like, why did this happen in the first place? And the actors all do a great job. They're convincing as soldiers, even though there's not a lot of like dialogue where they really go in depth about their relationships to each other. They do manage to give off a strong enough sense of camaraderie to where you are with them throughout the course of the movie, and you buy them as these guys who can handle themselves in the heat of battle. And when shit starts to go down and they get like very brutally injured or wounded, or they're trying to survive this assault of gunfire and missile attacks, you feel the fear in their voices and in their eyes as all of that shit is happening. So yeah, it's very much an experiential movie, and I think it does a really good job of making the audience experience as much as they possibly can without actually like taking them and putting them in the midst of a war zone, like what it's actually like to go through one of those things. Like, I've heard from a lot of people who are also soldiers, like at that time or in other wars, being like, yeah, this is like one of, if not the closest, most accurate representations of what it was like in those situations.
Um, and I didn't see this movie. Did you see it in IMAX?
No, I did not.
Okay. Because if you see it in IMAX, I think maybe that'd be a bigger treat for people. I did not, but this movie is loud. It is very, very loud.
Yes.
There's moments like when the gunfire happens, like it feels like you're actually really there, next to the actual gun. There's the show of force moments where like a plane comes and then sweeps through the area. Like, that's incredibly loud. So if you're in actually IMAX, or you're having one of those 4D type of experiences, if you can have that with this movie, that will probably enhance your experience with it. Because you'll probably, I spoke to one guy who did actually see it in IMAX. He was like, the whole theater was shaking when that actually happened. So that may enhance your ability there with it. And this being directed by Alex Garland, who, did you see the movie? You probably saw the movie Civil War, right?
Yes, I did.
And it seems like kind of with Civil War, because story wise, I didn't really like this movie all that much, but I did praise a lot of the technical aspects of it, the action sequences of it, the way it was shot, and it seems like a lot of that carried over into Warfare. What Alex Garland did with Civil War. What's kind of your opinion there?
Yeah, I agree. And I think a large part of that is because Ray Mendoza was the military consultant on Civil War. And so it makes sense that a lot of like what Garland learned from him making Civil War, the two of them brought over to this new movie here. And yeah, Civil War is much more sort of, it's a much more plot heavy movie than Warfare is. And I know a lot of people like sort of complained about it doesn't go in depth enough with the crazy concept that it sets up for itself. I don't think that was quite the point. I think it was more sort of like trying to almost going for like sort of a come and see vibe, in terms of like come and see Hurt Locker-ish vibe, where it's like following these characters through this hellscape and actually seeing them change and grow over the course of the movie, even when they're not directly involved with the battles that's going on. Whereas with Warfare, it's like it's all battle all the time, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, because again, the point is to show like this is not fun what these soldiers are doing. Like, they are actively like they are fighting for their lives in this situation, and everything around them is getting destroyed. They are getting hurt or killed, and it is not pretty in the slightest.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's simple movie. There's not a lot of, character, kind of like I said, revelations or moments like that in this. There's not going to be see a scene where a character pulls out a photo and it's like, oh, I got to get back to her. Oh, Betsy, you know what I mean? There's not going to be anything like that kind of going on in this. It's just about this incredibly tense moment and them trying to, make it out alive. And it is brutal, and you do kind of see it, and it shows that they, especially when some of them get injured, and they have to have somebody come and pick them up and trying to make it out. So you do have that. So that all is played very such on a visceral level. And the performance there from some of them is really good. I mean, that acting there was really, really well done there. Um, so that's kind of it with it. I mean, on a technical level, I mean, again, it's kind of much what I loved about Civil War, which is like, hey, the sound, the action sequences, the actual capturing what it's like to be in a battlefield and having that kind of lens at that does a really great job at that. If you want something deeper, if you want something more in terms of that of political commentary on the Iraq War, or you know what I mean, these really riveting characters or character development, you're not going to get that from this in it. And then the conversations come up with this movie about, is it military propaganda? What's kind of your opinion on that?
Um, yeah, I don't think it's propaganda at all because it's not. Again, it's not trying to glamorize this situation that they're in. It approaches it from a very objective, like not particularly like rah 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 sort of type angle to it. It's a very agnostic approach, which I know there's. I can't remember who made the argument, but somebody made an argument that like any war movie is inherently pro war or pro military or whatnot. And to that, I would counter with movies like Come and See or Stanley Kubrick's The Killing, which I just got around to watching for the first time recently. Or was it The Killing? Or no, it was Passive Glory. Passive Glory is what I'm thinking about. Where you watch those movies, and at no point does it feel like the filmmakers are trying to go like, man, war sure seems like fun. It's like, no, nothing about what you're seeing in these clips that we're showing is fun at all, or makes you go like, man, joining the military would be really really cool. It's like, yeah, no, there's a certain point where like the most heroic thing you can do in the situation that they're currently in is just survive. Again, it's sort of like that Dunkirk thing where it's like the most badass thing you can do is just get out of there before you die a grisly, painful death. Then there's no like big epic hero moments for you. There's no like sort of crazy like Die Hard or superhero moment. It's just like, no, it's just pure chaos, and not an exhilarating chaos. Just kind of like, man, I do not want to go there. I do not want to be in that scenario, and I feel sorry for any person who is in a scenario like that, whether they be a soldier or just a citizen on the sides, just minding their own business when all hell breaks loose.
Hmm. So, what would be your final thoughts and rating for Warfare?
I would definitely recommend checking this out. Like, it's not going to be for everybody. Like, I know there will be people who wish there was more of a story to this movie, but I feel like it accomplishes what it sets out to do, and it sets a very simple goal for itself. But it's not a bad goal. It's a goal that I ultimately respect and agree with in terms of just trying to be honest about what this situation was like for this guy who was a soldier and witnessed just absolute carnage and hell just right in front of him, and how it affected him and affected his fellow soldiers. And it doesn't feel like it's trying to glamorize or paint itself in a heroic light at all. It's just very like upfront on that level, and I commend it for that, absolutely. And also for all the technical stuff that it manages to accomplish, and for the performances. I think it's a solid package. Like, I wouldn't call it like one of the great war movies, but I do think it's very good, and it's very commendable in terms of what it's trying to do.
Mm, okay. So, what will be your rating?
Not quite. This is cinema. God, what's like the high matinee equivalent?
You can give it a high tune in, or you can give it a peak, or you can give it a.
High tune in. Like, absolutely check it out. But I could see if someone were to say, "Eh, that wasn't really my bag," I would totally get it.
Mm, okay. So high tune in for you.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think this is like one of those movies on a technical level you would want to see if you have a chance to on the big screen. If you can't see it on the big screen, then if you have a great at home entertainment system, then probably you will get the full experience out of this. Like you said, with the sound, with the firefights that's going on, like that's really where like your adrenaline kind of gets pumping, along with the people, and you feel like like I said, it really puts you with them in the situation when all that starts to happen, when things start to really pop off. Um, and as we keep saying here, you're not going to get any really in depth character kind of things going on here. If that's really what you want, you're not going to get that from this movie. And, I mean, this movie doesn't set out to actually do that. That's not the goal that this movie's trying to do. It's trying to more paint a real, trying to as close as it can get to a realistic experience of what it's like to be in a situation like this. And that's what the movie's trying to capture. And I think it does do a great job at capturing that experience there. So for me, I just kind of give it a strong streaming for me. Like I said, I mean, if you do catch it in catching up on streaming, then make sure you do have a great sound system, a great sound bar, because you're going to really get a lot out of it for that. Um, so yeah, and these moments, like I said, these are brutal moments in this, for sure. And you don't even get anything from the people that are attacking them. It's just only focused on the soldiers. That's it. That's all you really get there. And that's kind of it. So yeah. So I give it a strong stream it. Chris gives it a high tune in for Warfare in theaters now there. And I'm glad it didn't do any kind of really strong kind of political thing, because I think that's where Alex Garland fumbled the bag with Civil War. I think he fumbled the bag hard with that. And then he also fumbled the bag politically there as well with that movie Men, as well, I think. Yeah, so
Yeah, I did not like Men at all. Like at all.
yeah. I like it more than most people, but I was like, okay, this is just doing shit. It doesn't really have a point. It feels like a lot of the time. But yeah, so I'm glad he got stayed away a little bit from that kind of going on there. So yeah, that was our thoughts on Warfare. All right. I'll move on to our next review here. Very nice. All right. Let's do Drop next, and we'll do Death of a Unicorn last. So I'll pull up my notes for Drop here. All right. Good old Drop. Very good. Nice, nice. Good old Drop. Seems like some quite a bit of original movies coming out lately. Um, there. So,
Yeah.
like
I
Sinners.
wish more of them were doing well.
Sinners is killing it. That's doing really well right now. I don't know another. Novocaine kind of did kind of well, I think. Novocaine did.
Eh.
Did okay.
I liked it, but I don't know if it did necessarily great box office wise. And one thing I will say that I'm starting to notice regarding Sinners with its box office that I'm kind of annoyed with is certain articles trying to spread the thing like, yeah, it's a hit for now, but what if it crashes in its second weekend? Or what if it fails to break even? Or what if it hadn't had a great opening weekend? Then they never should have made the movie, and we should only get sequels to Cape Shit movies. It's like, fucking shut up. Shut up and just let them take the win already. Jesus.
I have not seen those articles. Okay.
Yeah, there's one going around that was like by the New York Times. It's like, man, fuck you guys. It's like, this movie is a hit, but with an asterisk. It's like, shut up.
Well, let's get into our next film here. So, our next film is going to be Drop. So, Drop is a movie directed by Christopher Landon. Christopher Landon, people might know his work. He did the Happy Death Day movies there. He also did Freaky. And you can see that a little bit, the tone, some kind of stuff there that kind of goes on in those films. And I like the Happy Death Day movies. I like those quite a bit there. I did not end up seeing Freaky. I did not see that, but I did really like Happy Death Day. So Drop here in his latest movie, what is it about? So you have this woman here who's a widow, a mother. It's played by Megan Fahy there, and then she's trying to get back out there again. You know how rough that can be there. trying to date in your mid 30s, meet people there, and she ends up matching with this guy on a dating app and decides, hey, I'm gonna go out with this guy. But on this date, she starts getting the worst thing of all, terrible memes. She starts getting these airdrops there, even though it's not called airdrops in the movie. They call them digi drops is what they call them in this. So they don't actually have the term airdrops in this. They can't use that. And it's she's being told through these messages that she has to kill her date, and if she doesn't kill her date, then they're going to end up killing her family, her son, and her sister. Right, is the one that's looking after her son while she's on the date.
Mhm.
So yeah, so that's the setup you have of this movie is how she's actually going to make it out of this situation. What's going to go on? Is she actually going to kill her date? Is she going to figure out who's been sending her these awful memes and messages? Yeah. So, Chris, what is your thoughts on Drop?
Drop. Yeah, this is solid stuff. It's a movie where you can very much feel its influences, like it's wearing its influences very much on its sleeves. As far as it's concerned within the larger like Christopher Landon oeuvre, I guess it's less inherently comedic than some of his other movies like Happy Death Day or Freaky, even though there's a couple of like like comedic relief moments in there and one major like comic relief side character. It's much more of like a straightforward like thriller. Like, yeah, these are the stakes and shit will go down if you fuck this up, and it manages to wring a lot of tension out of this scenario because it is like a really neat premise that's like ripe for tense moments and great suspense sequences and cool set pieces, and that he's able to mine a lot of that through his filmmaking. You could also feel the influence of De Palma, particularly with a lot of the angles and how he uses lighting in a lot of scenes. Like there's a lot of shots where it'll start off like really brightly lit, like how the rest of the movie is, but then like it starts to get darker and darker, except for whichever character, usually our lead, we're focusing on in that shot, where like she's like sort of the only source of light in the entire shot, and everything else around her is just complete pitch black. And he does a lot of cool shit like that throughout the course of the movie to sort of keep it moving at a really good clip. And you've got two pretty good leads. Megan Fahey, who most people probably know from the second season of White Lotus. She plays the wife of Theo James's character on that show. And the guy, I spent the whole movie trying to figure out where the fuck I had seen him in, because he looks like sort of like if Joel Edgerton and Glenn Powell had a kid, but he's clearly not. He's clearly neither of those guys. So I tried to figure like, all right, where have I seen this guy? And then I finally realized like, oh, he's from that shitty movie from last year with Blake Lively that is now kind of notorious for the whole thing with lawsuit with her and the director of that's been going on for the past like 6 months or so. So yeah, both of them do a really good job of carrying the movie. I will say I do think the movie could have used a lot more polishing on the script. I feel like it could have used a lot more twists and turns to make it more unpredictable and not so straightforward where you can kind of map out how it's going to play out. They do throw out some decent red herrings as the movie goes along to sort of try and throw you off its scent, but it's not. I don't think it's going to be that hard for you to figure out who is really behind all of this and what they're trying to accomplish with this crazy plan that they've got. And I'm not someone who's generally good at predicting mystery. So for me to figure it out as early as I did, is like, I feel like you could have spruced this up a little bit. And I also think that some of the humor could have also used some spicing up. Like there's one comic relief character, the waiter, who keeps popping in and out throughout the course of the movie, where it's like, yeah, this guy is not very funny. You probably should have given him some better material to work with.
Yeah,
But
waiter.
yeah, I don't know if he's in this trailer. They might show him at some point. But
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like it could have definitely used more of a punch to the dialogue in a lot of scenes and the general plot. But I think the stuff that does work, namely the filmmaking and the setup and the two leads, are enough to carry it through to where it still manages to be a decent time at the movies.
Okay. Um. Yeah. So you got this setup here. Mostly just taking place in this restaurant. Like I said, she's been ordered to kill her date. Kind of reminded me a little bit of like The Commuter, that Liam Neeson movie where it's like this regular person who gets charged with, okay, they got to do this crime, but they get told by somebody, it's like, hey, if you do this or something bad's gonna happen, and we're making you do this, and
Or
it
Red
kind of
Eye.
Red Eye, that's another one there, and it's kind of like again, I just never understood the premise of these type of things because it's like if you're really this this organization or outfit or person here who wants this other person gone, why would you rope in this regular person when you can just hire somebody, take all that resources and money to just hire somebody to just do the job properly? There you go. They wouldn't even have any big moral issue, quandary about it, and you wouldn't have to fight them on it. Just like, okay, I paid you to do the job, just do the job and be over with. But so that's kind of one of the things there that I don't like about this. Um, and when it actually gets revealed of, the whole premise and, like the more things get revealed and who actually behind everything like that, it's I mean, whatever. I mean, maybe you're gonna see it as dumb, maybe you're gonna just gotta go with it, whatever. And go like, okay, well, I'm already into this and whatever. I'm just gonna kind of go with it there. Megan Fahy there, she does a decent job at I think at playing the lead of this. I think she's pretty good there. And then she has a whole like backstory with involving her and why how she became a widow. That was really well told. I thought that was kind of good there, and how she kind of told the story about that. I thought that was kind of done. I mean, the concept of the whole, I mean, them trying to incorporate modern technology with this kind of thriller now is because hey, it's 2025 now, so it's hey, cell phones. Obviously, that's a big thing now. And the whole kind of airdrops type thing. I mean, did you think that was a little goofy, or did you kind of with it, because it was like, hey, it's updated for modern times, I guess, or something like that, I guess.
Yeah, and I think a lot of my feeling towards that also stems from the fact that I don't do airdrops. Like I do like the bare minimum in terms of like apps or whatever that I use. Like I mostly just like post stuff. I don't and if I like send messages to someone, it's through classic like texts and messages or whatever. I don't like airdrop pictures directly into their phone cameras. Like I don't even understand the science of how that works. Like you'll never catch me trying to do that. But I feel like they did a decent enough job explaining the basics of how it works to where I was able to kind of get over it enough to where I was able to ride with the movie as it went along. So, yeah, it's kind of goofy, but I can get on board with goofy stuff if you are able to do it in a certain way to where I'm still into what's going on, and I think this manages to do that well enough.
Mm, yeah. So, yeah, and then you have Brandon Sleekliner. I guess is how you say his last name there. Like I said, he was in that movie "It Ends with Us" there. That Blake Lively film. He was also in Emily the Criminal, which was that Aubrey Plaza film as well. If people have seen that, he's got another movie coming out later this year called The Housemaid. So he's gonna be in another
Mm.
movie. He's decent as well. I think he makes for a charming, good looking, date there. I think he does well there. Again, you have to, I guess, suspend a little disbelief of how long would you continue on with this date as much as she's kind of leaving and getting up and seems distracted and on her phone and doing all this other stuff. And, I guess it's like, okay, how much would you really put up with that if you're on a date there? I mean, I don't know. A lot of people have a lot of terrible date stories, so maybe people would put up a lot with that kind of going on. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a fun, effective thriller there. It's. I think you'll have maybe a good time watching it there if this is your type of thing. If you want to watch a good thriller, I think it does that. The mystery of itself is not the most fascinating. It's more the performances in it, and more of, I guess, the lead of the actors and how they kind of react to the situations more than the actual situations themselves that are really that interesting there. And you mentioned, like I said, Christopher Landon, who's if you people have seen his Happy Death Day movies, those what made that kind of much better than what was seen in the trailers was the writing of those movies and how kind of sharp and funny it was in that as well. And I don't know, maybe he should have maybe brought the writer from that movie over to this as well. I think maybe that would have helped this out a lot. Um, I'm looking at the writer of the first one, it was a different person, but then the writer of Happy Death Day was Christopher Landon himself. The writers on this movie are Jillian Jacobs and then Chris Roach, who are the two writers on this movie. There, I don't see any of the credits, but maybe if you could say needing maybe more of a good maybe punch there, maybe humor wise, because like I said, the waiter isn't really doing a good job at that. He's pretty terrible in all his scenes. I don't think it's the fault of the actor. I think it's the fault of just the writing that's given for him.
Yeah.
And then The climax of the movie um, uh, gets a kind of to me a little goofy with the person like you see in the trailer there. There's this guy there that's at her home. I guess he must have been like the third shift guy, or you know what I mean. Some because it's like what happens with him is like, bro, you honestly can't do this. Like, come on now. It's but okay. So that to me got a little kind of silly there, but yeah. So for me, I would just kind of give this movie a mm, kind of a lowish tune in, stream it territory. I'll give it maybe just a stream it. What about for you, man?
I'm a lone tune in. I do think it's worth checking out in a theater if you just want to see a fun movie, especially if you go with a date and you just want to have a fun date night out. But maybe go in with lowered expectations. If you do that, I think you're going to have a more fun. I think I went in expecting more because I do like the director's other stuff so much, and I did think it was a fun concept looking at the trailer. But I don't think they did quite as much as they could have done with it, but still enough to justify checking it out at least once.
Mm, yeah, yeah, it's a good fun date movie there. Good fun performances. Yeah, you might have some good time with it there. So yeah, lowest tune in from Chris. Kind of I'm right there with you there towards maybe a strong stream it for drop there. That's kind of a weak name, by the way. Drop. I don't know. The title's kind of
Yeah.
weak. Could have maybe come up with a better title than that. So yeah, I wonder what the other working titles for this movie was. I wonder. But yeah. So yeah. All right. We got one last review, and then we're gonna be heading out of here, rating somebody. Let's see if everybody's still on. Let's check it out. Cal's still on. Mini Portable. She's a wrestling content creator. She's watching WrestleMania Night 2. She's doing that. Yeah, so doing that. Dante's still on playing the Warhammer, so that's pretty cool. So get some good people to rate after this stream. All right, let me pull up my notes for this Death of a Unicorn, and we'll go ahead and get started on it. Good old Death of a Unicorn. This A24 film. I saw that trailer for Friendship in theaters when I was watching before I watched Warfare. That looks really good. I want to see that.
Yeah, I might check it out.
With Paul Rudd and what's the Tim Robbins? Is that guy's name?
Yes. Yeah, that guy whose name I keep hearing, and yet I have never seen a frame of anything that he has ever done. So maybe I should check out some of his other stuff.
I know people raved about like he did like what an HBO show or a Showtime show or that people really liked a lot. I forgot the name of it, but I heard people really talk about that a lot. Him and well, go ahead.
I was gonna say, watch it turn out to be called The Tim Robinson Show. Like you're sitting there thinking, like, what's it fucking called? And it's like, oh, it's The Tim Robinson Show. Of course it is.
Yeah, it is. It's close to something like that. It's called "I Think You Should Leave" with Tim Robinson. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think yeah. So that's that. Him and Nathan Fielder are always two guys I hear about. Like, oh god, you got to check out the thing that this guy did. And it's like, okay. I mean, yeah, I hear a lot of what he does is funny. Tim Robinson. So I hear that. Okay. All right. Let's check this out. So, all right. Let's get into it. No, I'll just put this right here. And then put this here. Yeah. Okay. Very nice. All right. So our last review of the day is going to be for a film called Death of a Unicorn. Death of a Unicorn is one of the latest A24 films here. This is starring Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega. So this film involves Paul Rudd there and Jenna Ortega, who are a father and daughter team there. While Paul Rudd is taking his daughter on a work trip there to his boss's family home, they end up running into a unicorn, actually hit and run there with the unicorn going on. And they discover the existence of these kind of magical creatures. And then once they kill one of them, then the family of that unicorn comes back and picks these people off one by one here. This very rich family that he's involved with. He's the lawyer of this family. And Amongst the family, you also have Will Poulter, who we just talked about in Warfare. There, like I said, this guy he's blowing up. He's in everything there. You also have Tia Leone in this. You got Richard E. Grant. You have Anthony Kerrigan in this as well. There, Anthony Kerrigan, who is the butler for the very rich family. So it's a horror film involving unicorns there, and it's a pretty kind of gruesome one, maybe more than you expect from the concept of unicorns. Chris, what are your thoughts here on Death of a Unicorn?
Yeah, this is a movie that I went into with kind of low expectations because it had not been getting the greatest buzz when it first came out. Like I think it showed at South by Southwest and had kind of a muted reception there, which and festival hype that can sort of backfire with a lot of movies where people at festivals watch a movie and talk about how great it is, and then you actually get around to seeing it yourself, and it's like, it's fine, but it's not all that. So to hear people like weren't even digging this at a festival makes you go like, oh, something must be wrong. And maybe it lowered expectations does play a part into it, but I thought it was fine. Like, it's definitely not like a new instant classic or anything like that. There's some missed opportunities that I think it could have taken that it doesn't. It doesn't go as far as I think it could with its premise, but I do think the stuff that it does have going for it are a lot of the dark comedy scenes that they get into once the family is aware of the unicorn and what they say they can do with it and what they end up doing with it. Particularly what Will Poulter's character does with the unicorn's essence. I will say in key circumstances and the things that he does with like its dust and whatever, which I won't get into too much because it's worth seeing in the movie, are really fucking funny. And when the carnage does start, it is really well done, and they have some really cool kills in there, even though the CG is really not that good at all. Like when they hide the unicorn, it's a lot more effective, but when they actually show it, like in that shot right there, you can see it's like, yeah, the effects aren't really all there, which sucks because it's another movie where you can tell that they put a lot of work into planning out all the set pieces and the kills and everything like that, hoping that the effects would like be super convincing when the movie was done, and it's just really not. Like you can see the seams in pretty much every scene, like except for the few where they use an animatronic. And I think a lot of the actors do a good job. Will Poulter, I think, is the MVP of the movie. He can get a laugh just through his delivery, even when the line's not that great. He says it in a way that makes it funny. Uh, Richard E. Grant is not in the movie as much as you'd probably think, but he is really funny. Like once he gets to go full like classic Richard E. Grant ham. Paul Rudd is solid. He gets a chance to play sort of against type in this movie. He plays much more of a spineless weasel than you tend to see him play in a lot of other movies, to where you're just a lot of times you're just like, man, fuck this guy. And Jenna Ortega is fine, although I will say I do feel like she is starting to get very much typecast in a very particular role as the moody goth teenager who complains about her parents and everything that's going on around her and all that. Like this feels very much like a copy and paste of her character from Beetlejuice. They might as well have just called her fucking Astrid for all they cares. But yeah, all those good things I mentioned managed to balance out the stuff that I think is kind of lackluster or could have been better, to where I can see this movie gaining like a cult following somewhere down the line. But as it is right now, like it's not a great movie, but I do think it has enough going for it to where check it out at least once and see where you land on it. I had a decent enough time to where I wasn't angry for sitting through it.
Mm, okay. Yeah, I mean that's kind of where I stand on it. I think it's just okay. It's just fine. I think there's some decent kills in here that work really well. Like I said, it's pretty maybe more gruesome than maybe you expect it to be, which I think is nice. There's some moments what the unicorns do to some of the people that's like, oh shit, that's actually pretty good and works pretty effectively. Paul Rudd and the combination of him, like Paul Rudd, it's a little bit different than what he's doing. Like I said, he plays a little bit more Weasley kind of character here. But he gets some kind of good stuff of why he is the way he is. Kind of a more backstory with the mother and everything. Jenna Ortega, like you said, it's another role. She plays a moody teenager. Like I said, very much reminiscent of her role in Beetlejuice again. Um, in that, and I think she's very much pigeonholed in kind of that role there. And I wish she'd break out of that a little bit there. I don't think she did that and Scream. I think Scream, she didn't really do that too much in that. In those
Right.
movies. But yeah, so that was kind of a little there. But the family when they go to the actual, his boss's family's house there with them, even though a lot of it are, they're playing typical evil rich people in their nature, very arrogant, very condescending, very stupid, very dangerous there with that. And then, all the things that kind of they realize what they can do with the unicorn. That brings out, I think they provide a lot of good comedy stuff there as well. Even though that stuff they with the rich people is a little played, they do a lot of good stuff comedy wise with them and the whole family. Will Poulter, I will agree, yeah, he is really great with him, and he's the main kind of comedic relief of the movie, um, which kind of really works there as well with that. And then when it came to the actual um, conclusion and ending of it, I was like, okay, this is fine. It wraps up kind of nicely, maybe there in a way, even though there's something that happens with the unicorn does, where they're in a car. I'm like, wait, I mean, how did the unicorn expect them to save them from doing that? And if you see the movie, you know what I'm talking about. So that was a little
Hmm.
kind of like, okay, but yeah, I mean, it's a decent enough movie there that you maybe can get some entertainment out of. I don't know, I know people when they see that label of A24, they're expecting maybe something either outright weird as hell, or maybe something prestige, or maybe that kind of thing there.
Subversive.
Subversive, something, what I mean, that's gonna challenge people there. It's not really any of that, kinda going on here. I think with that, it's just kinda like, okay, it's a decent kinda slasher movie, but it's involving unicorns, and that kinda goes on, and there's some interesting stuff they like I said, they do with the properties of the unicorn, the essence of the unicorn, I think, as you say there, with that makes it kinda work, and then, of course, you always have to bring in the lore with a lot of these anytime horror movie, there's always somebody who has to dig into the lore and like, "Oh, they do this because of this reason, and we have to fight them because of how," and that's kinda the role that Jenna Ortega plays in the movie there is what she kinda does. Um, yeah, so yeah, I mean, that's kinda mainly kinda my thoughts on it really there. It's kinda just while I'm walking, I was like, "Okay, it was decent enough," but you said this didn't even really get that much play at a festival, really, at South by Southwest, which this seems like a festival type movie that usually that crowd would kinda eat up, because of something like this, but I guess it didn't work for them. Um, for me, I would just kinda give it, mm, I'd give it, like, a stream it for me. What about you?
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat, like torn between high stream it or a really, really low tune in. Like I'm in sort of that sphere right there because I do think there is enough stuff about it that works. And yeah, I agree. I do think that this is an instance where you can see sort of the A24 label starting to work against certain movies of theirs because people will go in expecting something a lot more significant, um, or a lot more ambitious than what this movie is trying to do. This movie is just trying to be like a straightforward like creature feature, and there you've seen better creature features. Like there's a lot of scenes in this, especially when the carnage starts, that will remind you of Jurassic Park, and it's not done nearly as well as any of those similar kinds of scenes in Jurassic Park, but I will say it does it better than some of the actual Jurassic Park sequels that try to copy those scenes, so I'll give it that much. But yeah, I think if you go in with the proper expectations and the proper setting, you could have some fun with it, but I don't think it's going to be one that's like, again, I could see it getting a following, but not such a following to where it reaches like the Thing levels of like, wow, this movie is really like amazing and a huge landmark, and why didn't people understand this when it first came out? It's like, no, it's going to find like it's going to find like a comfortable niche spot for itself where it's like, hey, remember that movie, but it's not going to be one that people go to. It's like, man, that movie was really like so amazing. It's like, it's okay for what it is. Like it doesn't set that high of a bar for itself, and it hits the bar, but it doesn't exceed the bar, which you kind of hope it would, but it just kind of doesn't.
Mm, yeah. Do you think it's kind of what if people watch the trailer, it's like, okay, it kinda gives you what you expect maybe if you watch the trailer.
Uh, yeah, sort of. Like, I think you might expect more looking at the trailer. Like, I don't think it'll give you as much as what you would hope for looking at that trailer. But I think the trailer is fairly accurate in terms of what the movie is like and what it's setting out to do. It mostly just comes down to like the actual quality of what the final movie is versus the quality you expect looking at the trailer.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. You kind of give it a lowish tune in. I give it a stream it there for Death of Unicorn. I don't think it's playing in theaters anymore. It'd probably be on, probably if not already on streaming already there. So perfect there if people wanted to kind of give it a check it out there. But I mean, I think it's a decent watch. Like I said, funny and some moments there. It provides some good humor and some good deaths, some good kills there. So you got that going on. So yeah, those were our thoughts on Death of Unicorn. All right, we're going to be heading out of here. Thank you again, Chris, man. Thanks for joining me on this night, man. Much appreciated.
No
Hope I
problem.
didn't bother your Easter too much there.
No, not really. Like now that we're done here, I guess Last of Us, the new episode, is finally premiered at this point, and if my friend's message is anything to go by, it is going to be quite the tearjerker. So we'll see how that turns out.
I've seen some people say that it's I guess they're not digging this season 2 of Last of Us, I guess, as much as the first one.
Yeah, I know some people weren't too hot on the first episode. I'm curious to see what the reactions are to this new one so far, at least.
Because I did like the first season a lot. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah. We're gonna be back. I'm gonna be streaming Monday. Sage from Rated Immature is gonna be joining me. We're gonna be doing a review for Daredevil Born Again there. Devil May Cry. Also, Sage is gonna be doing some video game reviews there as well Monday. Friday, probably 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Nick or Dustin is probably gonna be joining me there. We're gonna be doing a review for Until Dawn and review for The Accountant 2. So do a review for that. Maybe I'll do a stream possibly with Chris again if he can join me Sunday. I'll let him know for the White Lotus. It'll be my first time watching it, so I'm hearing a lot of people talk about that. Did you watch Black Mirror? Have you seen Black Mirror?
No, not yet. I gotta get caught up.
Okay, maybe if you have a chance, maybe Black Mirror, season 7. Maybe we'll do that Sunday as well if you want. With that, so yeah. So some things there, future reviews wise there. I'm gonna be sending you over to Cal there. He's playing some Phasmophobia, doing that. Very, very nice there. Chris, let people know about you. What you got going on, man? All the good stuff.
You can find me on Facebook, Blue Sky, Instagram, and Letterboxd, all at Air Force.
Very nice. This is your Instagram right here. Check
Mhm.
you out right there. This is your letterbox here. Your favorite films, you got Jaws, you got Gladiator, you got Aliens, you got Silence of the Lambs. Okay. Nice diverse group of movies here. All right there. And you can see his reviews. Wedding Banquet Centers, Tiffany the Doll there, Goodfellas. All right. Very nice. All right, people. Send you over to good old Cal there. Good guy, good friend of the channel. Good support him there as well. Thank you again to Chris for joining me, for helping me out with these reviews. Very much appreciated as always. And to everybody out there, stay tuned.
Take care.